everybody. Welcome to another episode. It's an off season episode. And today's episode is going to be Love Island. I usually do this on my bonus episode, but I have a special guest today that I will be chatting with, and that is Lauren from season 17 of MAFS. Hi, Lauren. How are you?
Hi, how are you? So good to see you.
I know it's been a minute, it's
I
been a while.
know.
How are you doing? Especially since season 17 of MAFS just made it to Netflix. How's
Ah.
that going for you?
You know, life is still really good. I'm super excited for today because I know we're not going to talk too much about maps.
Mhm.
So it's like I'm really excited for that. But since this show has come out on Netflix, I feel like, it's reaching a larger audience, of
Mhm.
course, because everybody and their mama got Netflix. Not everybody has Lifetime.
Mhm.
So, I have a lot more people reaching out or coming up to me in public, but I'm not watching the show again. So,
Ever,
you know,
ever? Even on
um,
Peacock?
no. Shout out to them going on Peacock because new maybe I don't know what's going on with that. But
Yeah.
no, I still haven't seen the Chicago season. Although I've met some of the
Okay.
cast, I haven't seen
Okay.
the season. But you know, life is still good. It's not, a couple years removed from Married at First Sight now from my
Yeah.
season's filming. So
Yeah.
I am excited. It brings a certain level of excitement because it reminds me of when I used to be a Married at First Sight viewer. And so
Yeah.
people are in my comments like, talking to me like every few episodes, like, I can't believe this is happening. And I'm like, oh, you're in for a wild ride, baby. So I think now that I'm so far removed, I'm not as like traumatized anymore,
Yeah.
since
That's
the last
good.
time we talked. But yeah, so everything's good. And I'm excited for people to catch up on my season, see Chicago season. And I know Austin, Texas is next. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for the viewers who are trucking along with the ride. I have got
Yeah.
off, but that's okay.
But just to close this chapter, are you officially divorced?
Yes. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Finally.
Okay.
Yes. I have divorced on paper. Finally. Yes.
Good. Okay, so that is completely closed now. So congratulations to you.
Thank
Enjoy
you so
your
much.
time off. Okay. We are here to talk about Love Island because I saw, you were commenting on it, and my listeners know I am in deep with Love Island. It's that time of the year again. And I just want you to share what your journey with Love Island is.
Girl, first of all, shout out to the people, you, who are able to watch the show 5 days a week, sometimes six if you catch, what is it, the After Sun?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so much. So this is the first time I've ever seen Love Island. I've never seen outside of like a couple clips from UK in prior years.
Mhm.
Before this year, I had never really seen any of Love Island, but I'm a
Mhm.
super avid TikToker now. And for some reason, it is all over my For You page. Like my algorithm has just been Love Island, Love Island, Love Island. So
Mhm.
naturally, I'm sitting at home scrolling and I'm just watching these 5 minute clips, these 10-minute clips. And I'm like, what is this show about? And I find myself starting to feel like, TikTok is such an interesting place where if you don't have cable, baby, just get TikTok because you can see whatever show you need. So I maybe fortunately or unfortunately have not seen all of the season, like all of the full episodes, but
Mhm.
I've seen probably 1,200 clips,
Mhm.
and I think that those clips combined, I have seen the full season. But I
Okay.
just started watching the episodes this week, and oh my God.
Mind blown.
What a concept. What a concept this show is.
Mhm, mhm. It is. It is. And we were chatting a little bit before this, and I was telling you that much like your season, it's an anomaly this season, season 7, mostly because season 6 was like the pinnacle of all of the USA seasons, I'll put it that way. So people think that it can be topped, and I think the people this season came in with a game plan, and that's kind
We
of
know how that
skewing.
looks.
And that's that's so
We know
funny.
this is crazy.
Oh wow. I wonder what that could be. But yeah, so that's why it is. But I still find it entertaining. But I think what's making it worse also is the fandom. The fandom is like 10 times worse, and everyone's chipping in on it, and it's too much. There's a lot of outside noise and a
So
lot going on inside.
much.
Yeah.
It's to the point where I've literally had to now that I'm watching the show, my TikTok algorithm, I'm trying to reset it because I don't want to see so many takes. Because people's thoughts can get into your own mind and you
Yeah.
think that's your own original thought. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see, now that I'm actually watching the show, I don't want everyone's take There's so many. I think the show is very different, not just the season, but the show in that
Yeah.
it's a little bit more real time than most
Hmm.
reality TV shows. Because I don't think that they necessarily. I can't tell how they do it. I can tell the editing that's happening, but I don't know if they're recording it and putting it out the same, actually the same day, or maybe Fiji's on. Guessing
Like a
Fiji's on
day.
a
Yeah.
different time zone, so they have at
Yeah.
least a day, which that's
Yes.
still pretty outside of what maybe Big Brother. There's not too many shows that kind of do that real time
That's true.
ish,
Hmm.
so I would think that one, the editing is, while we see, we're not blind, we can see the edits happening. I don't think
Yeah.
they have time to do too much editing, is what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. But
Hmm.
those are paid professionals in those rooms, so maybe. But outside of that, this show is like, outside of the real time, I like that. A lot of people don't like that as younger 20-year
Yeah.
olds on the show, but I think that makes more sense to me
Yeah.
because I don't know if you could convince 30-year olds to do some of these things. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I don't even necessarily think it has to be like 30-year-olds. I think like Shelly's age, like the 27, 25, is fine with me. But I did struggle with it in the beginning of the season. Just some of the things that are being said, it didn't feel like their frontal lobes were fully formed.
They're
And
not.
I'm
But that's
like,
why I think it makes sense.
yeah,
Because if
okay.
your frontal flow was, what you'd be doing some of these things.
This is true, and that's what makes it entertaining. And then this is when you take the risk and you're not so fully conscious in some way. So yeah, I can see that. But I think what I would like to pick your brain on as we talk about certain things is things from your experience with reality TV that you've picked up on as we're going there. Because we're talking about the edit and we might as well dive into it. There's a lot of talk going on between the whole Huda, Shelly, Olandria, and
Mm.
all the things going on, and everyone is upset for mostly different things. And we're both black women. And I know everyone's like, don't bring race into it. Don't do that.
We're in
If you're
America.
able to do that, I'm happy for you that you can. Let me tell you, I don't go into things, and I'm sure it's the same for you. I don't go into things watching to look for they're racist. This is how that is not the
Not at
goal. I'm
all.
looking to escape. But there are certain things that we see that either trigger or sound familiar or we know what's going on. To me, bad behavior is bad behavior. Like there's certain things we'll talk about that, I think, maybe was wrong or not, but there's certain things that you have to admit that Huda is being given grace now, but Shelly and Lalandria were not giving grace for one day of them expressing their boundary and what it is that they wanted. And everyone, and I said it, I was like, everyone's going to make up the next day and we'll be okay. But Huda had days of bad behavior. And they're like, she's young, she's learning. And it's like, why can't we afford that, to everyone? But I just wanted to know, what your thoughts were from did you watch the heart rate challenge?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What were your thoughts on the whole Huda, Shelly,
An
and all
ace.
that?
Yeah. So, first thing that you bring up, thank you for mentioning that because I feel like coming from a reality TV perspective, one, I have a lot of grace for everyone on this show
Yeah.
because I understand how difficult it is to be yourself and still not be liked.
Mhm.
And I understand that there are some people who are trying to not be themselves and yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that struggle of the camera there. That's
Yes.
one thing, and I understand the struggle, and even more so with this, you have people voting on, and
Yeah.
making posts. So I get the struggle there, and I get that, reality TV, like on the behind the scenes side of things,
Mhm.
is not what we all see. Like even me watching this, I'm trying to remember and watch it with a grain of salt. Like, oh yeah, we're not seeing everything.
Everything.
There's no
Mhm.
way for us to see everything. Even though this show is a little bit more real time than other shows, we're not
Yeah.
seeing everything. We're not getting the full story. But that heart rate challenge, I have two eyes, okay? And I know for a fact, for a 100% fact, that Huda was on that man's face. And we did
Yes.
not see it. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Now, was she doing too much? Y'all gonna hate me for this. And I just want to start off with I am not a Huda sympathizer because I do remember the hurricane days. Okay,
Yes.
people forget. I think people. The other thing about reality TV is when you watch so many episodes, you forget episode 1 to episode 20. I
Yeah.
don't. I didn't forget. I remember.
Mhm.
But not to be a Huda sympathizer. In my head, I'm like, this is a heart rate challenge, is it not?
Yes.
Is it
Yes.
not?
Yes.
Was she doing too much? Maybe so. Can't call it. Did she get the man's heart rate up? She did,
Yes.
and that was the name of the game. So I'm not necessarily on Huda's side. I think that with the tension and stress of being on this isolated island,
Hmm.
I think everybody deserves a spiral.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves a spiral. We've seen Huda spiral countless times. And, excuse me, she has like this redemption arc over and over and
Yes.
over. And
Yes.
like you said earlier, I don't understand why that can't be afforded to Shelly. I do
Yes.
think Shelly, you know, I like Shelly. I like Shelly a lot. She looks like a cute
Yes.
little Barbie doll, her and Alandria
Yes.
both.
Yes.
And I understand that we're on Love Island and you have not closed things off with Ace.
Yes.
So I don't understand why it was such a thing, you know? I
Yeah.
understand being a little ticked off because, like, damn, you got my man and you got your ass in his face.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's a challenge. And I don't think I've seen Huda move that way with Ace specifically outside of challenges.
Okay. So here's my thoughts. Again, you're right. Sometimes we forget episode one, and I'm trying to remember now. I think that when they did that blindfold in the beginning, when you could kiss anybody, I think
Mm-hmm.
Ace was the one who went to Huda. I don't know how much they know. I don't know if Shelly knows that, and that's
Mm-hmm.
already something. That's one thing there. My thing is like, did she do too much? I want to say yes, only because everyone seemed to
Had the
look like
face.
jaw drop. Pepe was like, okay, that's more than a challenge. I feel like it's stuff that we did not see. I also feel like Shelly's reaction was a culmination of a lot of things that we don't know
Mm-hmm.
living day to day with her. And this was just the straw
The
that
final
broke the
straw.
camel's back. Yeah, for her. And then my other thing is like, if she wanted to show her skills, do whatever she wanted to do, why Ace?
True, because they could have picked anyone, right? Why
Elan
didn't she
was
pick
right there.
Chris
He's
or Elan
single.
or
Yeah.
not Chris, but because Chris was up there.
Yeah, because there's
But
not
why
couple.
didn't
Yeah.
she pick Elan? Or I do get that. I
Yes.
don't understand why she picked
Yes.
Ace, and that's where I look at Shelly and I'm like, no, her crash out, if you want to call it a crash out, is valid. I don't
Yes.
understand why I do understand why half of America turned on her all too well. I understand, but I
Yeah.
don't understand
Yeah.
because if you saw your man with something like I would also, I'd be mad at everybody involved. I wish he was a little bit more mad at Ace
She was, but I think no, okay, maybe not enough.
because Ace didn't have. Hey, I saw where the hands
Ace
was
was
moving and
he leaned in.
he leaned
He
he jumped
leaned
in.
into it. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So that's my thing was like, why did she pick Ace? And then the other argument was that oh, she was crashing out, and they gave her advice like it's just a challenge, like just relax and all that. Fine. The bombshells when they came in, they don't know you, you don't know them. That was in the beginning. That was all that. We're close to the end. The finale is next week.
Hmm.
And now we have established a friendship. Now you're my girl. Now you're my, well, quote unquote, you're my friend. We know each other. You know the relationship that we have. Why would you want to do that to my, why didn't you do that to Nick? Let's ask that.
There was a lot of there was
Let's ask that.
well at this point Nick and Sierra hadn't closed off, had they?
No,
Oh,
but
well,
everyone knows that that's,
yeah.
yeah. So it's just the pointed picking her. And also there's something, social equity. Huda has the opposite of that, like vibes. When you just read vibes of people where some not right, some's not. So that's why I feel like it was just a culmination of everything that we don't know. And then number three was the whole, it's not a triangle, but bringing Chris back. That Chris was going for Shelly. That's another man of mine that we're kind of doing this with. And we go back to that conversation. There's been a lot of edits. And there's an edit where Shelly responds where she says she wants to bring her back. They had a conversation, it was fine. And Shelly says, that sounds like a great idea. Which leads me to believe that Huda was like, I'll bring him back for you. Because when they did the mailbox challenge, we're like, what are you talking about? You bring him back?
Right.
We didn't know that. But that edit that says that sounds like a great idea, it
And
only
Huda didn't
makes sense.
deny it.
Yes.
So
So there goes the thing. There's nothing wrong with her kissing Chris. I don't think there's anything wrong. But there's a question mark for me. Why tell Olandra that it's a secret? He is your couple. Olandra is Shelly's best friend. What do you think is? I know you're both cool, but let's be clear. Everyone knows
everyone knows that
that
they're the
that's your
freaking
friend.
frack.
So
Yeah.
why would you go tell her and then say it's a secret? Why are you giving it a secret? It's your couple, and you did say you liked him. Like, I mean, I don't think it's like a sin or anything, but I think there's just stuff we don't know.
She moves funny, and that's what I would say. And that's why I can't be a Huda supporter because she moves funny. And she's been
Yeah.
caught in a couple lies. Like I didn't like the way, like after the mailbox challenge, when
Mhm.
she went to go talk to Shelly, and Shelly's
Mhm.
like, "Hey, girl, I know you want to talk right now, but I can't talk right now. Like I
Yeah.
need to calm down. I don't want to curse your ass out. Maybe tomorrow we can talk." And
Yeah.
then Hood goes over with her tears and is
Mhm.
telling, what was it, Maya? Oh,
Yeah.
Shelly said she didn't want to talk to me. That's not
Yeah.
what Shelly said. That's
Nope.
not what Shelly said at all. Shelly said,
Mhm.
I can't talk to you right now. She never said she didn't want to talk to you. So there are little things like that where when I think I want to be like, oh, Huda's not that bad, I think about certain things and I'm like, Huda moves funny.
Yeah.
Huda's, dare I say, a liar in some cases. So
Yeah.
I do understand. So I honestly think her kissing Chris, like you said, isn't a bad thing. But I
Mhm.
understand why that would be, again, another straw on top of that camel because like you said, we didn't see that conversation, but Huda never denied that it happened. So clearly, you did tell Shelly, hey, I'm bringing him back for you. And yes, you're partnered up with him, but why do you feel the need to move so funny if you're playing a genuine game?
Yeah.
And I don't think, and that's what I think for all the Islanders, if I'm being honest, none of them are genuine. I don't think any of them are that genuine. I didn't know who to vote for in those polls sometimes. I'm like, I don't like any of y'all. Other than my papaya. I do like my papaya.
Let's talk about
Big
that.
fan.
Let's talk about that
I,
because I
you don't like
because
Amaya?
listen, let me say this. The last time I did a recap, I just confessed I was like, I'm not a Nicolandra. I don't know what people are seeing. It's not for me, but okay, like I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum. But with Amaya, I'm not she's great. I don't think anyone deserves to be piled on. I'm not anti anyone being sensitive or crying. But my problem is she cannot communicate and it just drives me nuts. Like let people talk.
I will say I really like Amaya because, and maybe it's a little bit because I'm such a crybaby too.
Mhm.
So it's more, so it's a little bit of that, but I do think she's genuine. I think
Mhm.
that she's not perfect. I do think
Yeah.
she cries a little too much, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
From a fellow crier, it's annoying. This last episode, I'm like, tighten up, baby girl.
Yeah.
You know, and that's part of her lack of communication too. I think that she gets so emotionally overwhelmed and so
Yeah.
emotionally stimulated that she does cut people off. She is
Mhm.
very physically emotional. You know, we see the tears, we see the, but I also think maybe it is a cultural thing, like Brian pointed out, you know, and that's why I have a lot of grace for Amaya because I feel like
Mhm.
it doesn't give strategic to me. It doesn't give like she's in there strategizing and,
Yeah.
you know, she's a little quirky. My one of my friends said, I just don't like her. She's annoying. I said, I can understand it. I don't like her baby voice. And I'm like, I don't think she puts it on. Like it doesn't give me fake. And I like that. That's refreshing because a lot of the Islanders feel like they're being very strategic
Yeah.
with how they're playing the game. And I don't know if Amaya just signed up for a vacation and hopefully to find, like, I feel like she's literally just there, like, maybe I'll find me a guy and, you know, have a little vacation. And everyone else is like, no, we got to strategize. We got to do this. So I like Miss Papaya. And I feel bad that, you know, she's being categorized by the men specifically as too
Yeah.
much or, you know, because how many women have heard that in their life? So maybe it's
Mhm.
just a little bit of, oh, I see myself in you.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
Which I can understand, and that's what I'm saying is like no one should ever be made to feel bad for who they were. I'm looking at it from the point of an opportunity of growth. They shouldn't have piled up on her. The delivery was completely terrible because they were going, on her and the way she responds to things, and it's just when I think Aid said this a long time ago when we were co-hosting together, like it gets to a point where you can't communicate because you're going to feel bad. And then you're now walking on eggshells because everything is going to be like you're mean, you're
You're
mad.
gonna
And
cry.
it's
You're gonna
like,
cry. And yeah, I get
yeah.
that.
So what are we going to do? I think the other hot topic is, Zach and his speech. Zach annoys me too. Like we're saying she cries a lot. I don't like the way he talks. He talks too fast. He doesn't seem genuine. And he is Miguel's friend. Miguel is from last season, one of
hmm
the good ones and all
I
that.
like Miguel. I've seen enough.
Yeah.
I've seen enough clips of Serena Cordell, but I know the good
Yeah.
ones from last season, and I understand comparatively why a lot of
Yeah.
um, fans of Love Island are sad about this season comparatively.
But also to the detriment of season 7, a lot of people came in comparing them already. So even if
mm.
they weren't even trying to be them, they were already putting that on them, which is, kind of sad. But I think I lost my train of
Zach,
thought.
we're talking about Zach. Sorry.
Yes,
Oh,
Zach, thank you. So Zach, trying to talk to Amaya and saying all that, he shouldn't have, they weren't even talking to him when they were talking the stand up business challenge. And he chimed in and was going on and on. But the hot topic is that he mentioned that I didn't want to kiss you,
Because his
but then I
boundaries.
felt that with boundaries, and then I did, and everyone is like, "Oh, if the roles were reversed, like we would say that they did the boundaries." And I'm like, one thing, I say she cries a lot, but the one thing about Amaya is that she doesn't have any bad intentions. She's here to respect, everyone. So he can't act like, I know he's saying that he didn't want to, but there's a switch up somewhere there. He told her that she was fine because she asked after Ace eviscerated her. And then she was like, "Are you okay? Can I call you baby? Is that okay?" And my problem with Ace in that moment was Ace came to her with everything negative. They just coupled up. This is back when they coupled up.
Yep.
You
I
hadn't
saw
even
some
said,
clips.
"What's your name? What's your favorite color? I don't like this. I don't want that," which we know is a lie because you're doing your Shelly now. "I don't want this." It's overwhelming for someone if you're just saying all the things that is, negative, or you
Hmm.
consider negative about that. So that's not fair to do that. So the whole thing with Zach, everyone is like, well, it's boundaries and we need to respect his views. But I do think that he was wishy washy. I don't think he was being clear, but I don't know if you have a thought on that.
Baby, Zach could have left with the other five, okay? I never thought Zach was genuine.
Hmm.
He just wanted to couple up with the Maya to stay on the villa. I was
Yeah.
so glad when she cursed him out last episode, the episode before last.
You're an
I
odd
said,
individual.
I said, oh, I need to write that down. I need to start calling men odd more because a lot of men aren't odd. And I don't, and I understand what people are saying about, oh, if the roles are reversed, boundaries. Look, I don't think the situation is him having boundaries. I think the situation is the timing of how he brought it up.
Yeah.
Because if that's how you feel, fine. But it wasn't like, I don't feel like she was like trying to force you to kiss her or anything. It
Hmm.
didn't give that to me. It didn't give, like, I think if you would have said, brought that up a little sooner and touched on that, I don't think the kiss would have happened. But
Yeah.
then, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit,
Hmm.
but we get to the episode with the pose, and we see Miss Amaya Papayas being loved on, and now all of a sudden
Hmm.
it's a roller coaster, and who
Yeah.
knows what will happen. And now you're kissing her in the ball pit unprompted. Like,
Yeah. Your wing women.
you're fake. You're
Yes.
fake.
Yes. I think as soon as we saw her being voted number one, I'm like, okay, now everyone's gonna kiss ass. And then where do you stand with Brian? Like, do you think? I mean, the only thing that saves him is before the whole voting thing or ranking
Hmm.
thing. He did mention, I don't know if it was him or Chris, but he
It was
agreed either
Brian.
ways.
It
And
was
he said,
Brian.
okay, that she was cute, and they went with it. I'm still torn. I think because he mentioned that, that's his saving grace. But now he has that extra kick because he was really about Jaden.
He was, and he said
He,
that.
you
He
know,
said that multiple times. But I don't think. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Love Island. Everyone on this island, whether we like them or not, are very physically attractive people for the
hmm
most part. So I can understand him feeling Jaden more and still being like, yeah, Maya's cute. I like it, Maya. I understand the Nicolandria fans now because I'm like you. I was not falling for Nicolandria. That's delusion. Would it be cute? Sure. I just
yeah.
don't see it happening. But I don't know what we're gonna call him, Maya and Brian, but I like it. I'm delusional.
Brianna.
Brian, something, because I really like him. And I think what also saved him, of course, was when everybody was dogpiling on
Yeah.
Amaya, he came to her defense and was like, hey, coming from a Latino Hispanic household,
Yeah.
that's just kind of how the women are. Like, they call you babe, they call you Mia Moore. I don't think that it's fair that all y'all are jumping on her for her just being herself.
Yeah.
That was before the pose. That was at
Yes.
the mailbox challenge rather.
Yes.
So this was before everyone knew that America really rocked with Amaya.
Yeah.
And I think that makes him a lot more genuine. So, you can look at what's happening now and wonder if it's fake because at this point, I'm wondering if they even on Fiji, to be honest. That might be fake. But I think it's real because I think about that moment. I'm like, no, I don't think he's fake attracted to Amaya. I just think, I mean, of course, maybe he's pursuing her a little bit harder now
Harder. Yeah.
because who doesn't want to attach their ride the coattails of the possible winner? I
Yeah.
get that, but it doesn't give disingenuous to me, and I would like to see it. They look so cute together.
I'd like to see how it progresses, and then I think by next week I'll be able to make my call on, how are we feeling and if this is actually real. But it was a cute moment in her moo too. She wasn't even in a bikini or anything. She was in.
Hair braided. What did Drake say? Hair tied, chilling with no makeup on. I said, wow. I think he really likes that girl. I think he might really, or at least want to see what could happen.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'll keep an eye on them because I liked Brian and Andrena until both of them said they weren't into each other. I was like, you know what?
Hmm.
These people are gonna get my vote. Plus, they're so attractive together. So we'll do that. But let's talk about the poll and the voting. I don't like that it was misleading. They made us vote before they showed the stuff, and then
That
now you
mattered.
have. Yes, it matters a lot, and I know they did it so there's time for editing and to do the ranking, but now you have Ace at the bottom, Shelly at the bottom. This is when everyone was just like anti Ace and Shelly. I'm not even like pro Ace because I don't know why he was so mad at the mailbox challenge and he was just talking crazy
And airing
to
out all that.
everyone
Yeah, it
and
was a lot.
doing all that. It was not with anything, but I felt so bad for him because no one deserves to feel like, hey, what am I doing wrong? Maybe that was the wrong thing. I don't know, but boyfriend material, like if anything, I know everyone said Ace has been playing a game. I do think he likes Shelly. Shelly
I do
does.
too.
Ace and Shelly like each other. I don't want them together. I want Shelly with Chris, but that ship has sailed, and that's fine. What is a 27-year-old going to do with a 22-year-old?
Um. Oh, you know what? I don't think I realized there was that much age difference between them.
Yeah,
Yikes. Don't like that. I didn't like that they were at the bottom of some of the polls, but I think that some of was he wasn't in the bottom of the couples polls, or was he? What were they?
I think he
Like
was.
number
I think they
9? Yeah,
were
or like right
just,
before
yeah,
you know who?
Taylor.
I think they're suffering from a little bit of Taylor syndrome, like how Clark. Like, I don't think people necessarily really hate Clark. They just don't like Taylor so much. And because she's attached to Taylor, she got downvoted a lot. I think
Yeah.
that's probably what's going on with Ace. Although, again, I don't understand the Shelly hate, to be
Oh no, they
honest.
hate Ace, Lauren. That's part of what I'm
Really?
saying is
I
like
like Ace. What's wrong
I
with
don't
Ace? Because
understand.
he's
Like
strategic?
I don't love him, but the hate is weird. The hate is a
Yeah.
different kind of hate because he's the most famous, the one
Yeah, the
music
TikTok.
and
Oh,
all
yeah,
that.
we know the dancings. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone thinks it was strategic, including me. I thought like he was coming on there and, voted Jeremiah out. But even Jeremiah stood up for him and said if you could vote for any couple, it would be Shelly and Ace.
Did say
But
that.
I think people have not turned on that. It's that same thing where you can give grace to anyone else, but then when it comes to our people it becomes way harder and it's like you've done this and you have to serve time for life. I'm really
Hmm.
hoping there will be a switch because now that the dust has settled and everything, I think I just saw a clip now of Bella saying how Ace was so nice in the house and he used to pray every night, and then some, this is an account that shows clips. I don't know how they get the clips, but they show clips of all of them inside.
Okay.
He's on his knees, he's praying, he's doing all that. And she said he was so nice, but they never show that side of him, to
Yeah, I
us.
don't I don't necessarily understand the Ace hate then, because like they're not my favorite couple, although I did vote them number 1 as the couple that I would want to go on vacation with,
Vacation, of
cuz they
course.
seem
We'll be dancing, learning
I
dance
don't
steps.
understand how they didn't get number 1. I said that's crazy
They
because
hate Ace, yeah.
I'm like that is the to me that is one of the if they could get their shit together, that
Yeah.
might be a top couple if but I didn't know that Ace was so hated because
Yeah.
like I said, they I just wish they would have closed off already, maybe. Maybe that's maybe one part of their downfall too.
No, the downfall is just their
People
things
just
are
don't like
played.
Ace.
People don't like Ace, and people are very pro. They made it a Huda versus Shelly thing, and
And
Huda
people are very
has
pro Huda,
fans.
which
They're
is crazy to me.
pro.
When I'm sometimes I find myself in the comments and I'm like, "Oh, you guys really like Huda." And like I
Yes.
said, I have a lot of empathy for everyone on this show.
Hmm.
Kudos to you for putting yourself out there. But Huda, she is not the type of girl I think I would want in my friend circle. She very much gives like she would be all over your man and then wonder what she did wrong. And
Yeah.
you're like, everyone saw it, kind of like the heart race challenge, you
Yes.
know? But it said it's not a challenge. Like, I don't know what the Huda friends are smoking, to be honest. I mean, we've seen her be very, very verbally abusive to Jeremiah. I don't know if that's too strong of a word, but verbally attack at least, you
Yeah.
know. And I get people are like, well, she's growing, she's growing. I thought this was Love Island, not Growth Island, whatever. But if that's what we're going with, why can you guys not afford the dark skinned black woman on the island as many redemption arcs as Huda? I haven't seen Shelly cursing people out or calling men the B word or doing anything like that.
Yeah.
And it
It was
makes me wonder, like, how many Hudas are in the world? Maybe that's what it is. Just a
well,
lot
that's
of Hudas in the world.
yeah, to me, and I mean that's another person part of PPG last season. I've said it before was Leah. I think Leah was kind of that way, but they're telling me it's the edit. But that was how I felt. But then she had a lot of fans, and she made it to semifinals, and she
Hmm.
was a semifinalist. So, I feel like that's what's going to happen now. And then now she has Chris, who everyone thinks is great. So
I like
there's
Chris.
there's a chance that they're probably going to make it to the finals because she's really strong. But what if they had done this vote during the Jeremiah times?
Exactly.
Everything is strategic. They did this after the worst day that Shelly had. Like Shelly came out Huda really strong, yes.
She did.
I still think she's valid. I can see points where people are like, oh, she didn't have to do that. Maybe she was frustrated about a lot of things. I still maintain that there were just stuff we didn't know and it was cumulative, and she's allowed to. Again, if I'm willing, not a Huda fan, and I'm willing to say, you know what, she's still 25, she's still growing, she's
She
still
is.
learning stuff. I can afford that. I can afford that to Huda. Then why can't we do that to Shelly? It was one bad day. She's been supporting
One bad
Huda
day.
all season long. And now she's the worst person in the world because of that. Like, I don't know. It's not fair. And I hope they get a turnaround because what's happening with Ace and Shelly is they're both strong minded people, proud people who's like,
Very.
we're not closed up, we're open, bet. We're open. I'm gonna show you that we're open. And
And
Ace
that's what
wasn't
I think a
expecting
part of
it.
it is. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
a part of the Chris situation is really Shelly just being a little jealous. And she like I
Yeah.
don't do you really think Shelly wants Chris that much?
I think she did. I think she wanted the chance. I think that if Ace didn't want to close, she was gonna look at someone who was like Ace or better, and she
Hmm.
thought that of Chris. But then Huda came in, and then Ace was there, and it became a mess.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, I'm not gonna fight for someone. And like she said, they got into the villa, and Chris stopped doing all of the things. And Chris wanted Shelly. He told us that he
I
wanted
mean,
Shelly
he gave her two pancakes and a
and
flower.
a flower. And
So
then
clearly.
you guys, just when people fight for Huda, I'm just like, you're saying that she's grown, but this is a woman who said you're showing favoritism and I don't like it. But you brought him for her. Come, make it make sense.
Yeah.
Come on.
And one thing I will go ahead and give to Huda because, like I said, she's not really my favorite person,
Hmm.
but I don't think she's as manipulative as people, or I don't think she's attempting to be manipulative. Doesn't mean she's not manipulative with her tears and with the things
Hmm.
she says, but I think people always think there's some mastermind on TV shows. It's
Yeah.
always a mastermind. For my show, it was Claire. Child, Claire can't mastermind anything.
Okay.
Anything. She's so silly. I love you, Claire.
Charlotte.
I'm telling you, I know y'all don't believe me, but if y'all knew Claire in real life, baby, sometimes Claire say things and I'm just like, baby girl, you're not thinking. You're not thinking. And that's how I feel like I don't think Huda is this grand mastermind, but I do think that things that she does are unintentionally manipulative. I
Yeah.
don't think she's going out of her way to manipulate people, and that's one thing I will give Huda if I can
Okay.
give her anything. Still wouldn't be mad if she got off the island. It doesn't seem like she will be. She's very
No.
well liked by
Yeah.
so many people, which I'm sure she's not. I don't think anyone on the show is villainous. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that she has supporters because when she leaves the villa and starts, maybe reading comments, I'm glad that
Yeah.
she'll have some balance
People
there,
fighting for her. Uh-huh. Yeah.
because people forget you leave these reality shows and therapy is real and some of them are not in therapy before. So,
Yeah.
I'm happy about that, but I don't know if back to Shelly, like the original thought, I really don't think Shelly likes Chris as much as Chris liked Shelly. And I think we can
That's
maybe
fair.
agree on that. Um,
That's fair. I'm thinking about it. Also, she had Ace that she
she
had to
had
think
Ace,
about, and
right?
this was his only person at the time. Okay, that's
And
fair.
I think he likes Huda enough, but if I can jump to Chris real quick, because I do like Chris. I think Chris is really genuine. I don't think Chris likes Huda that much. I think that's why he had that whole dream conversation. I don't think he had. I took a couple of notes on this episode, and I was like, that boy did not have no hoop dream. He just wants to tell Huda, like, hey, I just want you to know it's not going to be you. I'm really busy. I'm, a professional basketball player, and I want you to know that that's priority. I think that conversation was more so about letting Huda know that he has other priorities that won't be her outside of the villa in the most respectful, genuine way he could. But he ain't had no dream.
So here's my thing. I was so for Chris, but a couple of things have happened now where he's down, but I'm still blinded by his curls and his fineness.
He's a pretty man.
He is. But Chris has been on another dating show that has
I
come
saw
out,
the
and I'm
push the
like,
button.
yes, yes, yes,
Yep.
yes. So there's that. And when he got up there all tough and like, I could be playing ball. No, you can't. You're not signed to anybody right now. And if you could, why
Because
would
if
you
you
pick
could
that?
go, if you could go,
Go
get
do
off my
that.
villa, get off my island and go play.
Yes.
Yeah. But when we think about like Chris is on another dating show, did you see and some things that came out about Taylor was on a reality TV show
He
before this
was. And
that,
it was
it never
scrapped.
aired. It was
Yes, it never
scrapped.
did.
And it makes me wonder, like, Jared, and not that, of course, people have careers, but it seems like a lot of people on the show were already influencers of some type, you know?
Which is usually the case. So that doesn't bother
Okay.
me per
But more
se.
so the dating
But
show.
yeah, if it's a dating show, exactly, and you want to stand on business like, oh, I could be playing ball. Good as pain. No one's signing you, but that's besides the point. And you're doing that. And I heard he's a Tory Lane supporter. I don't know if that's
Yuck.
true,
I
but
want to know
I
less
don't.
about these people.
I'm gonna say allegedly because honestly, there's way too much information out there, and we don't
Right.
know what's true or not. But I heard that. That's in my back pocket. The part where he seems to be where it feels like everyone's playing a game, he seems to be poking at everything. He was poking at Andrena for not being genuine because she didn't fess up to writing the note. But your girl wrote the note. Your girl said don't tell nobody. Your
Huda
girl
should have
said
never said that.
nothing.
Wish
So
she would have just
why?
never told us.
Oh, I hope they play that a movie night.
I I
Lauren, I'm
I hope
hoping we get a movie night.
that's
I'm
what
not
everyone's
thinking we would.
saying. I want to get a movie night because the things that we are hearing as viewers, I need some of the people on. I need the participants to hear these things. I
Yes.
need them to hear because, yeah,
Yes.
Huda, that was messy. I was very messy.
Yes. So yeah. So for Chris, I mean, don't say anything at all, but don't call someone out for not saying anything
No,
when your girl, is out there.
I really wish Huda didn't tell us because I really thought Pepe wrote that note himself. I was on team. I said, "Oh, Pepe just wanted to get some shit off his chest, baby." But no, fine, Huda.
These are the things that remind us that, and I respect what you said. I appreciate what you said because thinking back on it about Huda, not being so manipulative. I think what it is she's just used to her toxic behavior. It's normal to her that she doesn't even realize that it is toxic. So sometimes she does something and she sees people's reactions and she's like, "Oh, wait, that wasn't normal." So I'm gonna give
And
her.
yes. And if you don't know someone like that, which unfortunately I do know someone that, and we are no longer friends, if you don't know how that looks, it does look like they're really trying to be manipulative. And it's like, no, they just don't have enough people who have told them, hey, your behavior is really toxic. So now she's learning in real time just how toxic her behavior is, and she's confused.
Well, Lauren, the hope is that she is learning because they're just things that happen. Like when she told Chris, would it be better if I was ugly? Who says that out loud? When she was out there and she was mad at all the girls and she just sat there pouting, Amaya got piled on and Amaya was participating still because the producers are like, all right, go there, sit and talk. And she's like, I'm
Of
going to be
course.
here. I'm going to stay here so I don't get fined, but I'm not going to participate when she took her food by herself, when she slammed it, and what are you doing all this for? Can you just be a normal person?
And attention is a hell of a drug. And when you're
Yeah,
not getting it, you know,
yeah.
you
I
kind of
need
spiral.
Alondra. I need Alondra and Shelly really to just start crying because that seems to be.
Now you know black women's tears don't work, girl.
Well, I
They don't
mean,
work.
I've watched. I always bring up this episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills where they poked and poked at Garcelle, and until she started crying, they're like, "See, now I feel like we're closer. We can see you did not see her as a human being until she started shedding tears."
Fair, fair. Like
So
maybe
I'm
the
just
Islanders will look at her that way. I don't know if America will though. Just
yeah. I mean, that's true. But it's like Huda tells us what she thinks she wants to be. I'm not that kind of girl. Oh, I'm a girl's girl. And that's the thing. She made all the rules. And then she's the one who's just like, that shit hurt, bro.
Oh, you
Okay.
know what? Because okay, keep in mind this is my first season of Love Island, and I wasn't as tuned in before like episode like 22.
Hmm.
I forget that a lot of the reason the island is like this is because of Huda and
Yes.
Jeremiah. And it's
Yes.
like, girl, you did
Yes.
okay. So now I'm not gonna hold you. I can't even be a hood like I still like I said, I
Yes.
still empathize with my girl because like I said, I really don't think she's trying to like be this master manipulator. However, you set the tone.
Yes.
You did this, and now you're upset that when the rules come back on you, you don't like them. You don't like how it
Yes. And
feels.
she's flipping it that you guys told me to change and now I'm changing. And I get that, but there's some kind of there's an asterisk right
Yes,
there.
for sure.
Um,
You love an
I
asterisk.
decided.
But
I
yeah.
do.
But
It's the easiest
yeah.
way. Yeah.
I don't know what the other, I can't speak on Huda fans, but I just don't know why they're not seeing it that way. But I get it because, like, you forget it's a lot of episodes in this Love
Yeah.
Island show. Okay, it's
Hmm.
a lot of episodes, and a lot. I can tell that a lot happens in most of the episodes. Last night episodes was silly and stupid, to be honest, but a lot
Because
happened.
we had to bring it back to regular. It was
Yeah,
too much.
it was too much. Like I said, the first episode I watched, I said, "Oh my gosh, like my nerves are actually really bad. I can't believe you guys watch this every day." And now I realize, okay, it's not like this every day.
Yes.
We're coming off a lot right now.
Yes, we're
Tensions are
coming down.
high. So, and
Uh-huh.
that's okay. We probably needed a nice little filler episode, whatever. I do wish that some of the challenges were geared more towards, or at least maybe this challenge was geared more towards like the couples learning about each other. But I understand we need some sensationalism for TV and some filler. We need some filler. It's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, and we used to have that. We had that where I think last season where it was like who knows their couples the best. We had those. And even things from what the audience were thinking. All they did was pull up people's like tweets and then filling the blank. Who were they talking about? What was it?
Mm,
I think that would be a good way, but instead they made this messy and this does not help their mental health in any way. Because if Ace and Shelly were did not have a strong sense of self, you just at least Taylor and Clark, they know it's because okay, what happened with Alandria? With Ace and Shelly, they're just
they don't
like,
know.
wait, what? And the house even was like, what? And that's why Zach was third. Oh, anyways.
I'm not gonna. That's why I was so mad watching this because
Yeah.
I didn't vote Zach top five for anything
Yeah.
because I saw through his BS even before we saw how he flip flopped on Amaya this recent episode. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do feel bad for Asian Shelly because it's not like they're doing anything necessarily super wrong in the house. It was just that one thing, like, oh, Shelly spiraled, and I feel like the moment a black girl slips, and not okay, I know. Sorry, I'm bringing race into it, but it really is the moment a black woman slips is when they're like, finally, now we can get her out the villa. All she did, and
Yeah.
I also realize it's also because of who it was with. Huda
Yes.
is very well loved. Like
Much.
maybe if it
Yeah.
was someone else, it wouldn't have been that way, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because people are just going like, "Oh, you're bringing this, you're doing that." No one is saying like in some cases she wasn't wrong. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think she was
I
wrong
don't think she was wrong. I
completely,
think it was a
honestly.
little much. A little
Yes,
much.
that's what it is. And because we're used to seeing her so poised and so quiet, but she's allowed to let steam. So, anyways, I won't beat that so much, but where
Yeah.
do you stand on Landry and Taylor? Oh, sorry. He who shall not be named.
I would like to stand on his neck, to be honest. And this is my thing. So I've seen a few, like, there's that guy, I forget his name on TikTok, who I guess maybe that's where all these secret clips are coming from. Like he sees more of the show. I
Mm,
can't think of his name, but I don't know who he is or what he does, but he
okay.
gets to see more of these clips. But even when Taylor first originally picked Clark,
Yes.
the whole house was confused. And
Yes.
that tells me that not only are we seeing what we see with him and Alandria, because say what you want, to me, it was never going to be Alandria with Taylor once Clark came into play. But to
Hmm.
Alandria, Taylor did not full on say, "Hey, I don't want to be with you." He kept saying, "Yeah, I still want to pursue you." Now, was he giving any effort? No.
No. Hmm.
But at least to our eyes, it sounds like behind the scenes he was doing more because I think even Jeremiah said on a
Yes. Hmm.
podcast like no,
Hmm.
like I thought they were going to be the top couple. Like I do think Taylor kind of played in Alandria's face. So I feel like we're not seeing everything that Taylor has been doing to Alandria to kind of keep her in the wings this whole time. And I don't like that. I don't like
Yeah.
a lying man. That's what made me want to watch the show, to be honest. I
Don't
wanted to
laugh.
watch the show. I wanted to watch the show to vote Taylor out. That's my soul. I am a hater. I am baby Kendrick Lamar. I was like, yeah, I do not like this man. Sorry, Taylor. In real life, I'm sure you're a great guy, whatever. But on the show, he gotta go. And no shade to Clark either, because I actually didn't vote Clark low in the separate categories because I don't
Mhm.
think Clark did anything wrong. To be
Yeah.
honest, I don't think she's doing anything wrong. She just came at a real bad time. I hate it had to be you.
She did. So it's just so hard because I always, for someone who watches so much reality TV, I'm always like, it's edited, it's edited. There's more to the story. But
Heavily edited.
I'm like, are we missing some things we saw because she was begging him to show
The picture
affection?
was crazy. I wanted her to, hey, why did you do that? Like, and that's why
Oh,
I'm like, I understand when the audience is like, baby girl, stand up, stand up. I know fans were yelling at me to stand up sometimes, but y'all have to understand we do not see everything. Y'all do
yeah,
not see conversations that happen behind the scenes. It's so much. And I like to think that Love Island isn't edited so much, but we're getting an hour show and they're there 24/7. That
yeah.
show is heavily edited. So I have to believe that Elandria isn't just this weak girl who's like delusional and like he wants me, and he's giving her crumbs. I think he was giving her at least some slices of bread.
Okay. I think my only thing for me was she kept saying, I've put in so much work. I've put in so much work. And I just want her to realize like how much work you put in does not equate a healthy relationship, and it's okay to walk away if the math isn't, adding up. Because you remember that point where he told her, "Well, you don't have a secret handshake, maybe they don't like you."
And I'm not gonna hold you. That's when I was like, oh yeah, he's a child. Because they have a big age gap too, right?
I don't
I,
think so. I
I
think
thought he
they're
was
about
like
the same age.
23. I thought he was like 23.
I don't know. She's 25. I thought he was 25. I could
Oh,
do a quick
okay, yeah. Can
search
we?
on
Because
that.
for some reason I thought they had a bigger age gap, similar to Shelly and Ace too.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm glad they're not together.
He.
I
Oh wait,
really
no, you're
wish.
right. He's 25. I think she's
Yeah.
just 20. Is she 29? Yeah. Can we check on that?
I think she's 25 as well, but I'll check on that. But I
Okay.
wish that, she had given Jalen a chance.
Yes, and
I
that's
mean,
what.
she's 27.
Okay, so that so not so two
Yeah,
years.
so they're
No,
fine.
same
Yeah,
age.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I wish she would have given Jalen a chance, but I can only imagine, I also realize she has this view of her ideal cowboy, whatever. All he had to do was
Mhm.
put on his little cowboy hat, which we noticed he has not been wearing that cowboy hat. I just want to throw that out there. And I wonder why. I really wonder why. But I wish he would have given Jalen a more chance, but Taylor laid it on thick when Jalen was there. And she
That's where I think he fucked up. Was like you
yes.
ruined her chance to maybe have or explore or see something because you stepped it up. That's when they even had their first. I hate the way he kisses, by the way.
Oh,
It's
I
like a
hate
little
it. I
child.
have so many screenshots of him in my phone that I use in group
What?
chats. To use in group chats because it's hilarious. I hate the way he kisses. I hate the way he arches his back when he's doing his
He
ponytail.
can't stand straight.
I hate all of it. He's always slouching. I'm
He's
like,
always slouching.
dang, tighten up. Aren't you an alpha man? Dang.
So that's where I think he fucked up, and just being a man and saying everything. But I think if they do have movie night, they have to play the clip of him telling Ace, I'm not physically attracted to her. And
Yes.
she's gonna be madder because if you knew that,
You could have told me that. What was
you
that,
could
week
have
two?
told me, like, we're building on a friendship. I'm hoping it builds. We could stay in a friendship couple. They've done that, before, where you're in a friendship couple until someone then will just decide, like, if someone comes in, we'll both let them in, but you use her to stay.
And that's what makes me upset because, like you said, you could have just been friends. We've seen it play out before this season. You could have just been friends in a couple, but instead you laid it on thick, let them send Jalen home just to bounce to Clark a few days later. And that is where I'm like, yeah, I can't rock with that. And one thing I will say, because I've seen this in the comments and I think it's relevant to everything we're talking about, some people are like, well, he only knew Clark 3 days. Baby, I can attest. 3 days feels like 2 months in
No.
a reality show.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being on the honeymoon talking to the other participants of my show, and we were
Mhm.
like, how long have we been here? Because it felt like people were like, oh, she was in a 1 week relationship. me and that man both was like, why does it feel like we've been together for 6 months and I want out? So I think I want people to understand that yes, maybe him and Clark only knew each other for 3 days, but I know it felt like longer, and it feels
Yeah.
like they've been in this villa probably for a year at this point now. So
Mhm.
that can attribute to, and they don't have watches. Like at least we had our phones. They don't get their phones. They don't have anything. So
Yeah.
it really messes with your mind after a while. And these are the only people you have contact with. I just wish that Taylor just would have went about it differently. Even when he came back from Casa with
Yeah.
Clark, I wish he would have just been like, Alandria, like nipped it in the bud
Yeah.
very clearly. Because I
Yeah.
think for us, we were like, well,
We're
he's
clear.
we're clear on how he feels about Alandria, but I don't think he was ever clear with Alandria. And
Yeah.
that makes me not like Taylor because I prefer when a man just be real. Just be real.
Yeah. He was being a coward, really.
He's a
He was just
coward.
trying to
He's a coward.
pacify.
I know he spoke with his chest at the mailbox challenge, which bravo, good job. Everyone's like, he ate that up. I don't know if he ate it up, but I'm glad he finally said what he had to say.
Yeah, he did. And, there are going to be some people who are anti Olandria that were like, oh, the way she cursed him out. Again, maybe not the best way, but that's how she felt. And she was very, very frustrated. The only one thing I will say, because I did give Huda shit for this,
The
calling
bitch.
him a bitch, yes.
Yeah. When
Because,
she said that, I know it was written, but either, and we know because it never did it come out that she wrote it. Yeah, it said Olandria.
hmm
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. Yeah, I don't like when women call men bitches or vice versa, of course.
yeah.
But what I will say is when that happens to me, she's clocked out. The relationship's over.
Yeah.
With Huda, I feel like she was calling Jeremiah the B word and was like,
A
"Okay, now,
pussy. Thank
now
you.
kiss me, now hug me."
Yeah.
Like I think Olandria said that because she knew, like, yeah, I'm out, I'm done, and this is how I want to go out. Again, was it right? No.
No.
To me, was it valid? No
Yeah, because
comment.
it's frustration. And even, everyone was saying all these things. Even the next day, she apologized to Clark. She's like, I didn't want you to think like, the whole test thing because she asked about that. But
Hmm.
that is the terminology. You've noticed that they say things weird. Can I pull you for a chat? They even said a toasty. It's a fucking grilled cheese sandwich. Why we say that's what they call it in the UK? We are not in the UK.
And there's certain, and also realize there are certain things. Oh, I'm so happy I could talk about some of these things. There are certain things that production will, there's verbiage that they want you to use a lot.
Ah, okay.
For our show, like it was very, we had to say in this moment a lot. And I know that made people mad. They're like, why do
Ah,
they keep saying in this moment? Because that's the verbiage we have to use so that it feels real time in this
yeah,
moment, in this moment. So I don't know the toasty situation. Why are you calling a girl just a toasty? I don't know. But to pull you for a chat, things like that, like
yeah.
that's very much production oriented verbiage that
hmm
they're being told to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, insight, you heard it here
Yeah.
first. So, I'm glad that is done. The whole Olandria thing. I hope she doesn't double back because a little part of me wondered if Clark was voted out, would Taylor double back to Olandria? And would Olandria give him a chance?
And you know what's funny? I kind of wish, like, no shade to Clark because I think she's a beautiful girl. I kind of wish that would have happened just so we could see what
What
he would have
happens?
did because then I would have been more validated in my thoughts about Taylor. But now I
Hmm
have a question. So, like, since I'm new to Love Island,
yeah.
is there more bomb? Are there more bombshells possibly coming in this late in the game?
I feel like I can't speak on this season because they've changed everything. But
Okay,
usually, sometimes, yes, they did because last season they brought someone who was on the previous season last minute. And usually, when the last bombshells come in, they're like, there are going to be no more bombshells. They haven't made that announcement, but the finale is on the 13th. We're looking at 8 days, and I'm just wondering
like what would be the reason? What would be the
what would
point?
be the reason, what's going to happen. And right now, we still have like 50, 100 people in the
There are
house.
so many. Oh my gosh, I knew that there were too many people on this island when I was mistaking Chris for JD, which they look alike, but Chris is like the clearly the better looking older brother. I call JD Chip Skylark because them teeth, baby, shiny. Okay, but yeah, I'm like, why are there so many people on this island? And
Yes.
everyone's not getting fair camera time, so of course you
Yeah.
have the standout people, but then you have people who are like the TJs of the mix, who R.I.P. TJ, but he ain't get no camera time for real.
Oh my, he's boring and he looked like he didn't want to be there. So I didn't even think his thing with Iris was real. Is it real? Because now she's like, Pepe, hello.
Iris is still there, baby. If it was real, she would have went home.
Oh my goodness. And I'm rooting for Pepe and Hannah. So that's why I'm like, I don't know, but everyone, in this economy, everyone wants that 100,000. So
You know, exactly. And I'm sure it's not tax free either. So you really probably getting 80,000. So yeah, you need that money.
yeah.
I think it's interesting. I'm rooting for Pepe and Hannah too because she just posted a TikTok recently
Hmm.
about the mailbox episode. And I was like, oh, I think she missed Pepe too. I think she's at
Yeah.
home. Like, she was like, I was good until that episode.
She did. Did you see her interview where she talked about? I think I mentioned it to my listeners last time, where she mentioned talking to Pepe about her past sexual traumas, and Huda was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, come practice with me," and she practiced with Huda, and that was the day Huda pulled Pepe for a chat to tell him that she's interested. So when you make excuses for Huda, I'm like, I'm a Christian, so I'm gonna practice grace, but these things, there's too many examples. And
Huda!
that's why I'm so sure, even though I don't have fact, that Shelly is reacting to a whole bunch of things that they've given her grace for. And it's like, how many more times are we gonna hear, oh, I didn't know. So
And
yeah.
one thing I will say, not to keep bringing up Huda, but you could tell she's one of those girls where she's probably the prettiest person in her friend group. Like, she's used to being the only pretty person in the room, I feel like.
Yeah.
And that can mess with someone too. Not that that makes it okay. Like, that
Yeah.
it makes it even more sad. Like, girl, get over yourself. But yeah, I didn't know she did that. Yeah, Huda.
Yeah.
It's hard to be a sympathizer for Huda, which is why I don't understand why she has so many.
Well, it's the world we live in now.
Uh,
Well, Nick and Shelly. I mean, sorry, Nick and
I'm going to
Sierra.
my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, Nick
Let me see.
Sierra were the top contenders, but it looks like things are changing now. We don't even know if Sierra's gonna make it to the end of the show.
Okay, are people talking about a leak or something? Or like,
No,
why do people?
she used a slur,
Oh,
and
she used the Asian slur.
yes, and well, she said she didn't say she didn't know because she's not speaking. I don't know, but they're saying it's recent, but it didn't come out this whole time, and it came out now, and so people are saying it's not real, it's manufactured, because again, who knows what anything is now? I don't know. So
Right.
maybe they're investigating, maybe they're doing that. I have no idea, but now everyone's like they need to pull her off the show, so I don't know what they're gonna do, but they have no couples right
They have
now.
no
So Nick and Sarah
couples.
were the shoe in for that. So if they pull them, where are we headed right now?
Well, just know, and this is speaking from experience, a show does not need couples, okay, to keep going. And I know Married at First Sight is very different than Love Island.
Yeah,
I wish there was 100,000 competition because, baby, I would have played the game. But you don't need couples to keep a show. Like, I'm sure if
yeah,
production is, they have something up their sleeve, because at the end of the day, producers have this job because they're really good at what they do. They can
yeah,
produce a storyline in the blink of an eye. That's why it's really such a coveted role in the reality TV role, to like world,
to
to
be a
get that
producer.
type of role.
Yeah,
So I don't know about the Sierra situation. I did hear something about a leak and that Sierra was going home. I heard that they, like, I think whoever's running her socials, like, maybe took the show out of her bio. I never double checked on that.
yeah.
Um,
They've been saying all that, and the person who's handling her social stepped back and said they're not going to handle that anymore, and they're talking
mhm,
about it. I think where I stand on that is, if those are the rules, and they took out Ulissa for that same
right.
reason, let's keep it across the board, because a lot of people are coming out, a lot of people are saying that they didn't know that it was, and it is what it is, and I think they should just go across the board if that's what the rules
Dang.
are. So I don't
I don't
if
like Sierra anyway, so she can go. I don't.
Sarah's moving funny now because voting for Taylor against your friend, because someone said something once and I saw it, that Sierra looks like the kind of person who gets a man and forgets her friends. And I'm like, no,
Yes.
because I love Sierra. Well, until all this happened, I was just like, she knows who she is, she owns her sexuality. But I'm seeing things now. We know too much, Lauren. This is the problem. We know too much on social media about people, and we just can't watch a show to watch a show. I saw like an interview of her when she was younger. She wants to be famous. Like, this
Mm.
is her goal. This is what
Which is
she
probably
wants.
why she had that conversation with Nick, talking about, well, don't feel pressure about boyfriend, girlfriend. So it makes me think, like, do you even want Nick? Do you even want Nick? Or do you
She
just want that $100,000?
Yeah, she wants to be the
And
cool girl.
the fame of it all.
Yeah. She wants to be the cool girl. And she says that she stood behind Taylor. I guess as much that it was because of Nick, and she confirmed that it was because of Nick, but you're
'Cause that's
your
what I
own
thought.
person.
Yeah.
But Taylor was already ahead. Just stand behind, let it be a tie. Let's see what
Who was in
happens.
the running? Andrina?
Andrina, yes.
I would have loved to see a tie just to see
Yes.
what would have happened if
I
it
think
was
they'll
a
just
tie.
make them vote between the two now. Everyone just go stand.
They go stand.
Yeah.
And one thing again, watching this show, I don't know what's real or not. I don't know if the producers told people who to stand behind because
Hmm.
you would think that they wouldn't, but
Okay.
sometimes there is some. But I know like when there's money involved, typically there's supposed to be less producer
Producer.
input.
Yes, it's a competition.
That's what
Hmm.
they say. So I would hope that they're abiding by those rules, but you just never know. I would
Yeah.
have liked to see a tie, but yeah, she voting for Nick, I mean voting for Taylor. As soon as she did that, I said, "Oh, she's just doing it because Nick did it." But
Yeah.
that doesn't make me like you anymore. It makes me like you a lot less. I didn't dislike Sierra too much. I actually, to be honest, I disliked Nick a little bit more than I did Sierra, but just because I thought he was moving a little funny too. But yeah, when she did that, I was like, "Oh, you're not a girl's girl either." And maybe we're overusing the word "girl's girl" too
I
much.
didn't even want to hear it again anymore.
To be honest, like, fine, maybe it's that, but it's like, golly, like, who do you want to vote for? I haven't seen you talk to Taylor. I don't
and
know.
and that's the thing. I don't even think they need to vote for a girl, but because listen, Alandra stood for Austin, so that's
But
the whole thing.
But you have to realize, Olandria doesn't know things that we know about
Yeah,
Austin.
that's true. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
but she didn't go stand for like Andrina and be like,
right.
"Oh, I'm standing for." She stood for who was her
Who
friend,
her
which is
vote?
fine.
Her
But
friend.
Iris was her friend, was Sierra's friend. She, Nick, and they did the foursome date. Said, "Oh, we're out the drama, feeling better, holier than thou." The
Hmm.
least you could have done. You knew she wasn't gonna win, but you
At least
know,
it would have saved your friendship on the outside.
yeah. But
Yeah.
you know, there goes that. I don't know what's gonna happen with Sierra, but I'm so sad
I
because
feel
I
yeah.
really, really loved
I
her.
feel bad for her. I understand not knowing what a word means, but if they did that to the first girl, Ulissa, in the
Yeah.
beginning, I understand why they would have to do that. Which, not gonna hold you, probably makes Nicolandria fans really
We're
excited.
happy. How do you feel about that? That whole kiss, people keep equating it to the Huda and to Chris. I'm like, it's not the same, or is it the
I
same?
don't think it's the same because they didn't. I don't. Did they really know that they were gonna go back to the island? I mean, I guess at this point, when they started kissing, they did. Hmm.
Yeah. And
But they weren't
she,
closed off. I mean, I don't know. You could kind of say like, "Oh, Landry is moving funny." Again, I like to know how much producer input was into that too. Um, I don't know. I don't think there's any crime in exploring. Like that's the name of the game.
yeah.
But
But
she did it. But she did tell Sierra, didn't she? Tell
she did.
Sierra,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was
So
gonna
that's the
say. She
difference.
told her.
Yeah.
But she did. But I think when you tell, oh, we had a kiss, and when you see it visually, that's gonna be two different things
If we don't
because
get a movie night, I'm gonna be sad.
baby, that was a hot kiss. So
That is the talk of the town, and I've never seen a movie night on Love Island, so I'm like, oh well, we're gonna see this and they're gonna see that, but if we don't get this movie night, I'm gonna be really sad. I'm gonna be really sad.
I'm waiting for After Sun when it airs because
Tonight, right?
usually, yeah, and then usually Ariana would be like, "Oh, this," because she announced Casa Amor is next week, and I'm waiting. If after this episode she doesn't mention that there's a movie night, I don't think we're having a movie night because all the necessary people are here, and movie night happens after Casa Amor.
Okay, so we're in the time of that for that to happen.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of people, all the people who need to be shaded are here. Let's do it before they vote it out. And then we should have done a movie night. What if one of the major people were voted out last time?
Exactly.
So that's why I'm worried. But if we don't hear anything after this after sun, then I don't think we're having movie night. And a lot of people are going to be pissed. They took away the Twitter stuff, and now you want to take away movie night. So
And
I
I
don't know.
understand the Twitter stuff because Twitter isn't Twitter anymore. So
Yeah.
I think I kind of understand why they maybe did that, but I wouldn't understand no movie night because I know you said you're not buying the Nicolandria, and I'm not buying it either. Like I think the fans are a little delusional about it, but they had a nice few steamy days, and I feel like if it wasn't for Olandria's Taylor obsession, who knows what would have happened? Who knows? And no, people make really good edits on TikTok too,
They do.
man. Maybe it's just feeding into my little imagination too, because I'm like, girl, every time Nick looks at Olandria does not mean he loves her. But but he did pick her as his wing woman in that challenge.
He did, and he fought for her to stay, and he did all the things, and even his mom is team
She following
Nicolandria.
her. Yeah, I heard she's very team Nicolandria, the sister. So I'm like, I don't know, guys. If Sierra goes home, maybe not all is lost for a couple. We still have a recoupling coming up,
Yeah, yeah.
which
Which is another thing we're missing.
interesting.
We're not doing recouplings like we used to. They're supposed to give a cute little speech. The girls have not chosen. We've only had one official dumping, and that's when Bella left in the very
Hmm.
beginning. So we're missing a lot of things
Oh
this
man, I picked
season.
I picked the interesting season to start.
Yeah, yeah, but you're in the gist of it. You got the gist of it. So,
Yeah,
was there any other notes that you had that you want to talk about? I don't know what to say about Austin. Austin is out, so I just
yeah. I don't have
that's
anything on
all we.
Austin.
There's nothing. I don't know how he lasted this long.
I
He
think
said
he
it.
was yeah. I think he was there for the zip line for sure. Like I don't know why Austin was
Yeah,
there, so I'm glad he's gone.
yeah.
I think
He was.
everyone who left, the five people who left, I think it was fine. I would have liked to see Andorina stay a little longer, but
Yeah, that's the only
honestly,
person.
yeah.
Hmm.
And I felt like I did feel. I know you don't feel sad for TJ, but because and I get it now because I don't know to him how really close him and Iris were, but it just does suck to see a couple get broken up. I don't like when that I like a couple that seems like they actually like each other, but I mean, it doesn't seem like any of like the real valid players were sent home, so I'm
Yeah.
appreciative of that.
And that's the thing this season. They're punishing people for making connections. I'm so confused as to what they think this is about, but they're all like, you didn't explore. And I kind of feel like, and that's why people thought Ace was playing the game because they feel
He
like Ace
explored.
really wanted Shelly, but
Hmm.
he cosplaying as exploring, knowing that he's going to come back to Shelly by going with Amaya and then going by whoever, and just so he could say, okay, look, I explored, and then you can come back to Shelly. But the reason Sierra gave for voting Hannah out, bullshit.
Yeah,
I that
very
that
much bullshit,
that doesn't make any sense.
and Pepe knows that.
Yeah, he does. He just let it go. He's like, I
Yeah.
can respect that, but he knew. And this is part of what I think is the redemption arc because I believe Huda was part of the voting, but he just said Sierra, Alandria, and Shelly. Why did you vote Hannah out? And I'm like, hello. Huda was there too. Why are we not including that
Revisionist history,
in
man.
there?
Revisionist
So
history. Oh wait, I don't have more notes, but I do have a question. So
mhm.
this 100K, I
Yeah.
was under the well, I have two questions. The first question is the 100K. I was under the impression that it goes to a couple, but only one person wins and they decide if they want to share with their couple.
Mhm.
That's messy.
No one
That's
ever. They always share.
They always share. Okay.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
okay, good. Okay. I love that because that would make but this season, I don't know. It's a lot of fakeness going. It's just so much I just don't know what's real. Don't know what's real. But good to know. Good to
Yeah.
know. Because that makes me look at Zach even weirder now. Go away.
Yeah.
Leave Amaya alone. Two, once a couple, so let's say Sierra is not sent home.
Yeah.
Once a couple is closed off, are they not able to not be closed off? Like, can they change their mind or is that just it?
They can. They just haven't in the past. But obviously, if you're a liar, liar, cheater, cheater, and someone comes and turns your head, or you decide, oh my God, I've loved Alandria all this while, you can. You just, when you have a recoupling, you just recouple. It's basically saying your boyfriend,
Okay.
girlfriend, and people cheat
Right.
in a
Okay,
relationship.
but that has never happened in the history of Love Island ever.
Nah, not
Dang.
like
Okay.
this late in the game. So, we've only had one engaged couple from season 5. They just got engaged recently, Hannah
Oh,
and
lovely.
Marco. They're engaged. Season 3 couples are still together from last season. So, and then previous seasons they've been okay. And it's just so funny because everyone's talking about the drama this season. We've had some drama
More
in
drama than this.
previous
And I've
seasons.
seen some clips from UK. I'm like, I don't know, guys. It does seem like there's been more drama in other show in other seasons.
If they're calling Shelly and Alandra mean, you should see what's happening in the current season. They're like actual mean girls. Like this
In the
girl,
UK season.
yes, the one that's happening currently right now. They just had their heart rate challenge, and one of the girls went to one of the guys, and she was like, do you want to fuck me? Like, and the hideaway is open to anybody, and they just walk in there past his couple, and she puts on red lipstick and smiles, Helena, and she does what she needs to do. They're not afraid to explore over there. They're
Oh,
just,
baby,
they don't give
They
a
make
fuck.
Huda look like an angel. Oh
Oh
my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah, and they'll laugh, they'll high five each other, and they're just mean.
Okay.
That's actual mean girls. So, they don't know what they're saying. All right, as we wrap up, I'm going to ask you this. As a newbie watcher, what is your favorite thing about the show and your least favorite thing about the show?
Ooh, good question. So far, my favorite thing, maybe two favorite things. I do
Okay.
like how often the show comes on. Maybe that's a catch 22
Yeah.
as well, because it keeps you engaged, it keeps the viewers engaged. There's always something to look forward to. Um, I do like that I like the premise of the game completely.
Yeah.
You know, you're there to kind of date around, and I like when
Hmm.
people play the game as it's intended. My least favorite thing, this is going to be so hypocritical, but maybe the fandom of it all. I think we talked about
Hmm.
that in the beginning. Like there's
Hmm.
so many it feels like I'm watching the show and I'm also like listening to all of America and what they have to
Yeah.
say. And it makes it hard for me to sometimes solidify my judgment on some people because I was
Yeah.
super 100% team Chris at one
Yeah.
point. I really like Chris still. I still like him, but there are some things I'm like, maybe I don't like him as much no more. And I'm like, is that me or is that someone else's view? So I don't like that the fandom is so into it, but I get it. That's kind of what the show does to you. I mean, it sucked me in
Yeah.
just a matter of weeks. So I really like the show. I'm going to continue watching. I'm probably going to watch that UK season now too.
It's on Hulu. Get on
I
it.
think I'm gonna go ahead and watch that. And this I do, and this is more of a personal thing. This was kind of my re-entry back into
Mm,
watching reality TV because I really haven't watched.
mm,
I wasn't super big on reality TV before, but I really liked Married at First Sight, and now I feel like
yeah.
I can't watch it anymore. I really like other shows, and I haven't watched them in over a year.
Yeah.
So watching this has kind of fueled my entertainment value again for reality TV. I feel like I could just be a viewer again, and it feels
Yeah.
really nice to be on this side. And it almost feels illegal for me to be on this side, knowing as much, like
As
knowing
you
so much
do.
about a reality TV. It's like, oh, this
Yeah.
feels so illegal because I know this and I know what you know. But it's a really fun show. I see why it has such a big fandom, and
Yeah.
yeah, I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to watch the UK. There's an American on there, and they don't know what to do with her because she's her mouth. She told somebody, "Wah!" Keep crying. So again, they're me. Just go
So
ahead
they
and
sound like she fitting right into the Mean Girls over there. Oh my gosh. Yes. And
so
wait, is Zach from the UK?
yes, he
Okay.
was actually on the UK Big Brother. He's been on reality TV. That's why I said it doesn't bother me because if you search every one of them in some
Everyone
way,
in.
they're living in LA. Do you hear Huda? Once my lease is up, I'm moving to LA. So
Yeah.
that's a given. I think right
Got you.
now.
Got you. Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to vote, who you voting for? Even though we don't have that
Right
many
now.
couples, yeah,
Oh my gosh. So I have to vote for a couple, right? Not just one
yes,
person.
yes,
Ace and Shelly.
yeah, same.
Yeah. I would
Honestly,
vote for Ace
same.
and Shelly. They seem actually genuine as much as you can be on this show. I haven't seen them disrespect other islanders too much. I haven't seen them disrespect each other. I've seen them try to work through their issues. You can say they're playing the game. At the end of the game, at the end of the day, this is a game.
Hmm.
Everyone's playing, and I don't know. I just like them. I like them. You know, will they work outside the villa? Who knows? But inside this villa, I'm a fan, and that's who I would vote for.
Yeah, same. I'm with you on that. And I know someone's out
Because
there
who else is
saying
there? Who else?
Nick and Sierra, possibly Pepe and Iris, Taylor and Clark.
So
So
two and a possible. That two and some possibles is crazy. Okay.
and I know someone's out there saying like, "Oh, but ACL didn't mind and all that." Again, we're not saying anyone is perfect. We're just saying in the overall grand scheme of things, they've been okay. They've been decent.
Correct.
So
Correct.
this has been so much fun. I want to remind people out there that you can disagree, keep it cute. Like everyone just has different opinions, and we're just watching the show for entertainment at the end of the day. So, it is what it is.
And be nice to them. They're people. Those are real people, guys. So just keep in mind, those are real people, even if you don't like them.
Yeah. So Well, Lauren, I am gonna have you back. Like,
This was fun. Thank you for inviting me.
you are welcome. Well, guys, this was it. You know where to find me. It is AltoCall MAFS on Twitter, on Instagram, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. Please give me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And until next time, talk to you then. Bye.